Um, yeah, that's better. Yeah, okay, fantastic. Okay, sorry about that. Definitely having some technical issues. What the blur? Like seriously, that was insanely blurry. For some reason, all of my stuff has stopped functioning. I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. Thank you so much. Stop the stupidity. I see you there. Thank you so much coming in. I've got some stupid for you this morning. Hopefully you can stop it. But look, I doubt it somehow. I seriously doubt it. But you know, do your best. I admire the fight. I don't. You definitely haven't stopped the stupid, but I'm right behind the fight to do so. I'm all 100% on board. 100% on board. Good morning, left-handed Jedi. Good morning. That I believe Dorimo Fasolacido. I don't know what that means, but isn't that ugly German truths? Maybe I can't. Have you ever considered that? Maybe I can't. Dorimi Fasolacido. Got to have some. I know, mate. I know. I know. That's okay. That's all right. We survived it. We survived it somehow. I don't know how. But good morning, ya hooligan. Good morning. Good morning to you. I still need my coffee. I still need to wake up. But we're aimbotting today. We're doing it. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. But boy, do I have like so a guy of Australian politics, and don't hear politics and turn off because this is just bonkers. This is just absolutely bonkers. He's made the news again, right? And I really want to highlight this guy because he is something else, and I find it hilarious and disturbing all at the same time. Now, this is a guy that is just he's insane, right? He's just crazy. The guy's name is Bob Catter. Now, he's kind of a very, very conservative-ish politician, but he doesn't have problems with certain things. But he seems to have a problem with crocodiles and his ancestry. It's very strange. It's very strange. Anyway, I just want to show you this clip because this was from a few years ago, but boy is it funny. It's so funny. This is basically this is Bob Catter, right? This is Bob Catter. Now, good old Bob here. He was asked a question about gay marriage, right? Like, so should gay people, you know, be allowed to get married, kind of thing. Oh yeah, P Barnes, welcome, P Barnes. He knows where it's at. He knows where it's at. Um, Yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking. Yeah, no, that's fair. But this was his response to a question about gay marriage. Okay, so wait for it.
I mean, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities. I mean, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. But I ain't spending any time on it because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
Yeah, like you do, right? Like you do. As soon as you like start thinking about gay marriage, you can't focus because like talk about yeah, it's the tonal ladder. That is the tonal ladder. It goes from let 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned to but I ain't thinking about it because a person is torn to pieces by crocodiles. Of course. Of course. Of course. I every time I think about gay marriage, I can't. It's the crocodiles. It's the crocodiles. I swear, it's the freaking crocodiles. Um, Now I did something on this guy. Like I did a aimbot with talking about him, and like he threatens journalists, kind of thing. Um, like so I'll share that with you. I got it from the ABC, so it should be fine for like copyright stuff.
It's no secret.
So this question, and I can. So basically, the journalist asks him about his like because originally his family immigrated from Lebanon, right? Like they came from Lebanon, And hey, that's totally cool. Good on you, mate. Like seriously. But he's against immigration, right? But his grandfather immigrated from Lebanon. It's pretty well known. And so a journalist was sort of pointing out, well, isn't it a bit hypocritical to be against immigration when you have a Lebanese ancestry? And it goes off the rails, like seriously.
but dare to raise it in public.
Bob, you've got Lebanese heritage yourself. What would you say?
Oh,
to
mate,
the
don't
immigration?
say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that.
Press further, the rant continued.
Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years.
Yeah, and before that, your family was in Lebanon. Like it's a matter of fact. What is with that hat? Okay, so that's called an Akubra hat. They're actually really comfy. I had one myself at one point. It's called an Akubra. It's like it's basically the Australian version of the the Texas cowboy hat kind of thing. Like it basically is the same thing. So a lot of cattlemen wore them. A lot of farmers wear them. They're just broad brimmed, so it stops the sun. It's called an Akubra. Pretty cool hat actually. Pretty comfortable. I got to say.
Right? So if you say anything like that, I have on many occasions punched blokes in the mouth, right? So I'm restraining myself today.
It came as he fired up.
Right, Stetson. Yeah, okay. So I'm not sure what that sort of traditional sort of, not traditional, but sort of normal cowboy hat is in America. But yeah, probably the Stetson. Okay. Look, this is in the wake of, so a lot of people have been protesting for what's going on in Palestine, and rightfully so. And I think I covered this in like the sort of AIMBOT where I talked about, just because Hamas did some horrible things over there doesn't mean that all Palestinians deserve what's going on onto them. And sort of Kat is against it, but his family immigrated from Lebanon, but he's against immigration. It's just a bit weird.
Over his party's anti-immigration stance.
If you have anti-Australian sentiments, then get the hell out of my country.
It's not the first time he's gone ballistic when asked about the Katter's family tree.
Yeah, so this is like, 7 years ago or something. This is like ages ago, and he just he can't seem to accept that his family immigrated from another country. Like, no one's saying it's bad. That's the thing. It just seems in a bit, sort of, look, it just seems a bit of a disconnect between you saying, hey, we shouldn't have immigration, and your ancestors immigrated here. Like, just saying.
Your grandfather's Lebanese. How do you feel about
No, he's not. He's an Australian. And I resent strongly you describing him as Lebanese. That is a racist comment, and you should take it back.
His sister doesn't seem to have a problem with it, as she shared on Australian Story earlier.
Yeah, and he wasn't Australian all of his life. He was a Lebanese, he was from Lebanon, right? So part of, it's so weird. It's so weird.
This year.
My grandfather, Jiddi we called him, came from Lebanon.
I'm sorry, that's his sister. But yeah, he's so angry that someone pointed out they're from Lebanon, and this poor journalist, he's just trying to ask a question. And if you're familiar with Australian journalists, they will ask, why isn't he slouching his hat? Well, I mean, that's a military thing. He doesn't even own gumboots. Look, mate, I don't own gumboots. Seriously.
As Channel 9's political journalist Josh Bavis tried to finish his original question, he copped more abuse.
Don't say that.
I'm sure that
Don't
you said it.
say that,
I'm sure you said
because
it.
you're a racist. You're a racist.
Look, can I just point out, you know who I feel sorry for? This poor girl. Look, it's just this is like what you cop in a pub when someone's being rowdy and it's okay. I was never, look, this girl, regardless of what, she was never privy to this. Like, I really feel for her. Like, she shouldn't have to be, like, up against the wall trying to avoid the crazy guy in the hat. Just a bit of a note, though. He really should, like, turn side on. He's just nothing but a target. Yeah, he's a journalist, though, so maybe that's not what he's thinking about, but, yeah, no, Kata, he's crazier than a cut snake, quite frankly. But I feel sorry for her. Like, she didn't even ask the question. She's, like, up against the wall going, hey, where are the bouncers, mate? Where are the bouncers in this establishment? I really feel for her, although she does look a bit amused, so, you know.
A racist. You cannot say what you just said without being identified as a racist. Some gentlemen, ladies, this man is a racist.
Look, this journalist correctly pointed out that his family, his grandfather originally came from Lebanon. So he was Lebanese at one point in his life and immigrated. It's weird. Caterwailing, yeah, basically. Yeah, hey, caterpillar. Like, this is the good Kata, okay, not the bad Kata that we see on the screen. But yeah, he's madder than a cut snake, like, absolutely.
In a statement, Nine's news director said Mr Kata's aggressive behaviour and threats were unacceptable.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. So this is a member of the Senate, and they just commented on it. No one likes it because he's a member of the Senate. I mean, this isn't the behaviour you expect from a member of the Senate. Like, seriously, have some freaking decorum, my guy. Absolutely have some decorum. But the reason why I'm bringing him up is because, like, before you saw, he seemed to have a thing about crocodiles for some reason. Okay, for some weird reason, he had a thing about crocodiles, and that continued in a thing. Yeah, Lebanese is a nationality. Absolutely, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You know, but you know, if you say someone is Kenyan, you're sort of suggesting at their race as well, I guess. Maybe that's not true. You're right. That is a nationality. No, you are right. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and P. Barnes is right. I did cover that in a previous AIMBOT, that it was basically a rally that was, you know, the original member had said some racist comments. It was astroturfed by neo-Nazi groups, absolutely. And a lot of people went to it, and it's very strange. It's a very strange time. But this is a question in Parliament, and it's just I've got to Kata versus Kata. Look, I got my money on Kata Pillar. Just saying. They are the GOAT.
Treasurer, doesn't federal government backing of Brisbane's Olympics confiscate $30 billion off North and Central Queensland's coal and copper miners, cane and cattle farmers, giving it to the IOC, whose Paris opening ceremony was, I quote, an orgiastic pagan ritual?
So if you're unfamiliar with the Paris thing, they did this Feast of Dionysus, right? Where it was kind of like the Last Supper, but not really, with all of these things like that were symbolic of the Feast of Dionysus. Which, as all the Christians said, oh, well, it's hassling the Last Supper. Well, in actual fact, it's more based upon a painting called The Feast of Dionysus. And so it wasn't, but they sort of said it was pagan and it was trying to mock Jesus. You know, all of the standard Christian stuff. So he's got hold of that. I don't know who told him, but seriously. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, thank you, Kata. And it's Aunt Jazz in Amber, Kings Mason, how you doing? How you doing over there? And Andrew is back for more. How you doing? Telling the truth is racist, don't you know? Well, I mean, yeah.
Integrating Christianity. Treasurer, didn't Christians abolish slavery, create from a brutal imperium?
Yeah, no, that Christians didn't really abolish slavery. I mean, they helped. You know, there was an abolition that did have a lot of Christians in it, but it was also a lot of deists and a lot of other nationalities as well. Like, you can't just say Christians alone did it, because Christians were also against abolishing slavery, so they tried to maintain it. I think it was more just a change of culture than a religion that did the abolishing of slavery. It's just that Christians were the majority religion at the time, so, you know, just that's just how percentages work. If, like, you know, 80% of people are Christians and slavery gets abolished, some Christians are going to be involved, you know, like, that's just how things work. No, hello, Jessica. Good to see you. Transmetal alchemists are welcome here.
Pax Romana, from the Dark Ages, the Renaissance.
And again, like, it's fantastic seeing the women in the background, and she's just laughing, losing it at this, and she's on his side. That's the thing. That's the opposition side, or the you know, conservative side, and she's just losing it at him, which is just, yeah, wow.
Didn't communism murder 78 million people? Didn't Christian Gore...
I don't know. It's communism murder 70. So for a start, they're not talking about taking $30 billion away from agriculture in Queensland. I think it's about $3 billion, and it would come from, you know, the normal revenue gathering like taxes. So this is a weird framing to start with.
The Pope and Charlie Wilson's Christians abolished communism. Didn't pagan rituals sacrifice children to the tree and crocodile gods?
Didn't pagans sacrifice to the tree and crocodile gods? No, not really. I mean, the Germanic peoples had a tree ritual that may have involved sacrifice. He's got a real problem with crocodiles, I'll tell you that. When you're sacrificing... and I just, like, seriously, I just, it's great. Could I just go back to the crocodile thing? I just want to go back to the crocodile thing, okay? Because, like...
I mean, you know, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities, you know. I mean, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom, as far as I'm concerned, you know. But I ain't spending any time on it, because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
It's the crocodile gods. Like, look, I'm not against the Olympics. Let 1,000 blossoms bloom, as far as I'm concerned. But I ain't spending any time on it because pagans are sacrificing people to the crocodile gods. Like, seriously, what is going on with this guy? I mean, what the hell? Maybe he's Captain Hook. Yeah, I don't know.
Rituals still live on, Mr. Treasurer.
There are a number.
Look, I don't know how the Speaker of the House is supposed to react to that, but, like, what the hell? What the hell? These rituals still, really, people are still being sacrificed to the tree and crocodile gods? Is that still happening? Where is that happening, Kata? Where is that happening, mate? I point them out, because seriously, it's just, wow.
Number of elements of that question that I don't think went to the Treasurer's responsibility.
Yeah, I don't think it's the Treasurer's responsibility to maintain and oversee sacrifices to the crocodile gods, mate. I'm not sure that the Treasurer is responsible for that one. You might want to contact the Australian Federal Police. The Treasurer basically does everything to do with the finance, basically the the monetary operations of the government. He's not involved in, like, preventing paganistic, orgiastic rituals to, the tree and crocodile gods. What is going on?
Responsibilities, particularly the... No, I heard every word. I heard every word. Absolutely.
And the funny thing is he gets up in Parliament. This is in Parliament. He gets up, right? And he's like, you didn't hear what I was saying. No, we heard you, mate. We heard you, yeah? No, we heard it. We heard every word. Just, I'm not sure that the Treasurer is really in charge of ritualistic sacrifices to the crocodile god.
I heard every word. Absolutely. Absolutely heard every word.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's certainly more coherent than anything the Shadow Treasurer has said in recent times.
Okay, so basically he's saying it's more coherent than anything that the opposition, so the opposite party, has said in some time. So he's basically just ribbing on the opposition, which is actually hilarious. It's just, how do you take this seriously?
Mr. Speaker, I think the House will forgive me for steering well clear of the pagan rituals and the tree gods, and I will spare the House. I'll spare the House a gallop through a couple of thousand years of human history.
Yeah. So he's basically saying, yeah, I'm not touching that over the 10-foot barge pole. Like, he's going to addresses like the spending on the Olympic bid for Brisbane, but doesn't go anywhere near the freaking like pagan orgiastic rituals. Why? You know what? It's weird. It's so weird because, yeah, he's pretty vile on a lot of things, right? Like, this is a guy who has suggested, because he's so afraid of China, what he wants to do is arm every school kid with a weapon, right? So they can fight China. If, like, it is the weirdest thing. Like, seriously, he's such a weirdo. But you know, stuff like gay marriage, he's like, yeah, I don't care. It's like, he talks about all this Christian, and then he's like, yeah, I don't care about this or care about that because of the crocodiles. Was he bitten? No, but he comes from far north Queensland, and crocodiles can be a problem up there, right? Like, especially tourists, because tourists will ignore the, like, don't swim in this place. Like, the government's really good about putting signs up, but a lot of tourists think it's a joke or just an Australian joke kind of thing, and they will ignore the signs and swim in like crocodile infested water, and the crocs don't care, and they're horrifically big. Someone needs to tell him he's racist. I mean, yeah, he's sort of specious, but he's just ridiculous. Red Dawn Australis. So wasn't there a Red Dawn movie made in Australia against the Chinese? It was just ridiculous. Like, seriously, I think Hemsworth was in it, from what I remember. Hemsworth was in it. But what I will do is I'll put the link in chat. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you just some of the more ridiculous stuff going on in Australia, because wow. Like, I remember that Paris thing because I did a there's a Kirby Ministries, right? There's a channel called Kirby Ministries, and he did something on, you know, the pagan opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics, and it was just ridiculous because he's like, oh, it's supposed to be, it's mocking God and all of this stuff, and it's just like, there's a painting called the Feast of Dionysus that just looks sort of, there's just a whole bunch of people sitting down, which is basically what the Last Supper is. So it's just a painting that sort of resembles it, and that's what it was based upon. Oh yeah, no, he's no stranger to controversy. But I don't know how he's survived in politics, but, you know, threatening journalists and stuff, you can't do that, mate. Like, seriously, the guy's just doing his job. Like, seriously, come on now. Come on. He's got a job to do. He's trying to do it. Leave him alone. Journalism can be a dangerous profession in Australia. I won't lie. I won't lie. Give me 1 sec. I'm just going to pull up YouTube and pop this link in and pin it for the world to see. For the world to see. Yeah, but journalism can be a real dangerous profession over here with some of the hooligans in politics around here. But generally, Parliament just laughs at him. He's not laughing at the same time. He's definitely dead on serious, which is, really, really shocking. Really shocking. Yeah, that is true. That is true. I'm not sure that's a Darwin Award. Like, I think that Darwin Awards are where you orchestrate your own end, basically. I'm not 100% sure that it would qualify. That just seems like, just ignorance to me. It isn't really an orchestration of your own end. Ooh, and coming in is Amber. How you doing, Ems?
Hello.
Hello.
Happy year of resurrectiness, I suppose. I mean, a year tomorrow if it's week 52, but whatever.
Okay. Yeah, it was my birthday yesterday. So, no, day before that. So, day before that. Yeah.
Your
So,
anniversary.
yeah, my Hoven stream. I don't know. I just felt like doing a Hoven stream because I always find it funny and enjoyable. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I had a blast. So, yeah, it was good. So what did you think of the craziest politician in Australia? Like, he's got that title. He's earned it by this point.
Okay, fair enough. I think we need to keep him away from Marjorie Trailer Green because
Trailer Green, yeah.
It would just that much crazy in one place. The planet would crack in half.
You say that, but she said some pretty reasonable things lately that I've agreed with, which is weird, right?
It is very weird, yes.
Like, she's come out and said, hey, if you put through these changes to Medicare in the resolution bill and the tax credits end for Medicare and Medicaid, then my adult children will have their insurance premiums double and it'll be unaffordable for most Americans. So I agree with the Democrats, and the government should put through provisions to it's like, wait, this is the Jewish space laser woman. Why is she suddenly making a lot of sense? I mean,
when the leopards come for her face, suddenly she cares.
Right, that's the thing. Like, because she's obviously talked to her children and they've gone, look, this is ridiculous how much we're going to have to pay, because Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't part of that elite kind of political body from, the rich side of things. She's not a 1%er. So she's like talked to her kids and gone, okay. And she sort of wanted to release the Epstein files because, as she said, it's ridiculous that you can have, somebody convicted of trafficking and have so much footage, like the amount of footage that they've got from as evidence, yet not one person has been arrested or indicted or even suggested. And even though the victims have come and named people, straight up named people, and it's like, that's ridiculous. And, what the hell? She said that, and I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, but I don't know. I feel like that's one of those stopped clock is right twice. In fact, the fact this is the first time in how many years has it been since she started making a fuss over the school shooting kids? The fact that this is the first time she's been right is kind of remarkable.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
somebody mentioned, I'm amazed you don't have a local Lord Buckethead. If you're unfamiliar with Lord Buckethead, he is glorious. Absolutely glorious. Right? Like, are you familiar with Lord Buckethead?
Not Lord Buckethead, but the taxes are too damn high guy is pretty fucking legendary.
Yeah, the taxes are too damn high guy. Lord Buckethead was an English guy who was against Brexit, and he was he was basically an evil overlord, and he was the only one speaking sense when it came to the Brexit situation, right? And John Oliver did a thing on him.
Lord Bucket. I love it.
Yeah, Lord Buckethead. And I want to try and find the footage of this because
I don't know. It makes me think of Vermin Supreme. You know, the guy who ran for president with the boot on his head.
yes, so that's the English raving mad loony party or something.
Oh, good.
It's like a crazy party, but they're sort of what they're trying to point out is the people would rather some idiot with a boot on his head than the people that they currently have. It's actually a nuanced critique over the quality of the candidates that are currently running for office, really. Okay, so this is Lord Buckethead, okay? He is an evil space lord. Okay, from outer space.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Hang on a sec.
Your MP, Theresa May, called this election about Brexit. Have we heard from her what she plans to do about Brexit? No. This is mad. On Thursday, you are going to be faced with Prime Minister May or Prime Minister Corbyn against 27 Prime Ministers from the European Union. It will be a shit show.
Yes, it will, and yes, it was. So he's talking about Brexit, that you're basically going to elect one person against 27 different nations, and they're going to have to negotiate with 27 different nations an exit to the European Union. All right, it's gone terribly for England, right? But, you know, he's trying to point out that neither of these people are quite capable of carrying out that negotiation with the leaders of the other Europe, which they didn't. They got a terrible deal. It was just ridiculous. It was a mistake. A lot of people now, there's probably majority support for going back into the EU because, you know, turns out all the money that the Brexit people said would come from leaving the European Union just didn't materialize, you know. Just like Trump said, you know, yeah, everybody predicted it. Like, and that's the thing. Trump did the same thing. He predicted that, you know, inflation would just suddenly go down like magic and, you know, all of this stuff. And, you know, it just doesn't materialize because he is not adverse to lying through his fucking teeth. That has no shame whatsoever. So, you know, there is that thing of, why is it that some dude with a bucket on his head is the one telling the truth? It's very strange. It's very strange.
But yeah, that's very fucking amusing, and I'm so glad you shared it with me.
Yeah, and you're right. The great thing is that it's no more ridiculous than the lords and dukes that take themselves seriously in Britain. Yeah, and I might add, unlike Prince Andrew, he's not like connected to Epstein. Just saying. All right, because Prince Andrew, I mean, it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, you've got a guy on your ballot, aren't you, that calls himself Good Space Guy, as unhinged as he's been running for decades and never wins. Okay. Well, I mean, what really gets me about this is that some random guy dressed up with a bucket on his head is the one making sense in all of this. Like, it's just that the absurdity writes itself. And I love at the moment that in Portland, people are dressing up in costumes to protest how absurd it is that it's supposed to be a war zone. Because now we have, like, Trump saying it's a war zone. It's like, you know, just fights and stuff. And there's, like, unicorns dancing in the street next to, you know, inflatable frog and lion costumes. It's ridiculous that you think that this is a war zone. So, you know, wild. Absolutely wild. I approve.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Reed, and I approve this message.
The human zoo, the outdoor animal park. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways you could take that.
I hope the frogs are all gay. Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, they've started like a frog army kind of thing. Someone was holding a frog together strong, which was just hilarious. Hilarious. Don't lick frogs. Don't lick frogs, by the way. Unless they want you to.
Yeah,
you feel like
that sort of thing.
You feel like aimbotting today? Is that
sure? The last time kind of got detoured a little bit, didn't it?
That's okay. I'm here for the detours, quite frankly. I'm here for the detours.
I'm here for the tangents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, Jess. And John Oliver, who I really like John Oliver. I think he has some amazing takes. Like for Theresa May have to stand next to, because it's tradition for all of the candidates to stand on stage together. Just her having to stand next to a guy with a bucket on his head is just too good. It's just hilarious. Just hilarious. Well, I mean, as Kata says, let 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as he's concerned. Yeah, I am kind of tired, so I might do a shorter stream, but that's okay. We still want to get a few of these out, not a problem. Am I the arsehole for having a new neighbour's car towed? Did you? I'm not sure why. Not really. No. I mean, I must admit, I get if someone's parked in my spot for my place, I am pissed. Like it sucks. It sucks. You know, I think maybe talking to them first or something, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of it depends. I mean, if the neighbor did something wrong, then probably not. They'd be the asshole. If you're just doing it for the giggles, then maybe you would be the asshole.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Hello. I don't really see that. That's very cordial of you. I don't really see people write these with a hello at the start. So for the background info, my wife and I have been living in our apartments for 3 years now. I've never had an issue like this before. Our complex has open parking spots that are first come, first served. Yeah, that's sort of, visitor parking in my place, like they're just spots. Our complex has open parking. Yeah. They Alos also have covered ones you can pay for. Okay. We have a covered spot that we've been paying for the whole time we've been here. That's weird. Okay, so you have to pay for your spot. Look, in ours, just each person has their own spot. Weird. Okay, that's strange to me, but that sounds like a rort. That sounds like a ripoff. We did this because my wife gets off work anywhere between 12 a.m. to 2 a.m., so they have a spot always available. Okay. Now, last night when I got home, I didn't look at our spot. I never do. I never park in it. I park in an uncovered spot if one's available. Otherwise, I park further away on the street. When my wife got home, though, at 1 a.m., there was a random car we had never seen before. I have no idea who it belongs to, and I'm not about to go knocking on random doors at 1 a.m. to find out whose it is. I don't know. When someone's parked in my spot, I just sat there and honked the horn constantly. Assuming that they would know who they are, right? You would know who you are. You know who you are.
I usually know who I am, yes.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, whoever parked in that spot would know that the person constantly honking outside is probably the person whose spot you parked in. For all I know, the car didn't even belong to someone in our same building. That's true. So we called the security for our complex, and they came out, verified we owned that spot. Well, it's more leased, right? It's more rented than owned, to be honest with you, mate. And then marked the car for tow. My wife had to park down the street in the meantime, and we live off a not so great main road, so they didn't feel safe walking from the car. What the? They didn't feel safe walking from the car. Why not? That's a weird. What? Okay, I'm struggling to understand that. Like, you're not safe to walk down the street. I don't get it.
I assume this is the United States, and yes, there are many places.
It's 1 a.m. in the morning. Oh, it's 1 a.m. in the morning. Gotcha. Okay, 1 a.m. in the morning. Once towed, I went and grabbed our car and moved it back to our spot. The part that makes me feel like an arsehole is that I ended up meeting that apparent new neighbor. They were being nice but in an intimidating way. Yeah, I suppose so. She told me I could have come knocked, that it was okay, she had the money to cover the tow. You don't know whose car it is. It doesn't have a, owner lives in apartment whatever on the car. You do know that, don't you? I mean, you could have just sat there and honked loudly, but she might have thought that it was a, not to do with her if she's willing to park there. Wow. Wow. Every time I tried to explain the situation, she was just talking over me. We exchanged names. She dapped me up. What is a dapped you up? What is this? She dapped me up. Is that what the kids are calling it these days? A very aggressive dap. Is that like doing the dap kind of thing?
I don't know what that means.
Dapped you up. Like dap. Is that like a fist bump, but with the? I don't know. Somebody help me. I'm too old.
Aggressively dap.
Well, it's not a dab. I can imagine. It's just aggressively dab, right? just right in someone's face, touching your fist. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. I am right. Yeah. Like, it's like a fist bump, but it's
Okay, apparently it's, according to the TikToks, it is a style of handshake where you clasp hands such that, like, they're both facing upward. Like, I can't do it with my hands, but, like, both hands end up upward. Apparently. I don't know.
And then proceed to tell me the office knuckle to knuckle or tap the top and reverse. Okay. No, I got you. She said they told her it's first come, first serve. Well, then best to go. Like, I'm really sorry, but you're best to go and take that up with the office, right? Like, if they're the ones that lied to you, that's not his problem. I'm sorry, it's not. Like, he did what he should have done. I mean, the Urban Dictionary results are wild? Yeah, okay, no, I can imagine. Look, the Urban Dictionary results, Jess, are always wild, quite frankly. You could put in something completely innocuous and it would have something wild in it. That's just a wild site in general. I'm a very passive person, so the whole confrontation just make me feel like we did wrong and that we should have just gone knocking on doors. No, I don't think so. I think that if you're paying for it and the office told her that it's first come, it was probably a misunderstanding that the office said, hey, these parks over here are first come, first served, like the uncovered ones, and she thought it was all of them. But, I don't know what you're supposed to do in that situation. You have paid for that and you need to use it. like for whatever reason, I get that your wife didn't feel like she could walk safely at 1 a.m. in the morning, down that main street kind of thing. But are you an arsehole? I don't think so. Look, I think that he didn't even decide to tow the car. That was the security people. He just informed the security people. It was their decision to tow the car. So take it up with them or the office. Don't take it out on the person that reported it. Because, he reported it. He didn't even say that he wanted them to tow the car. They just marked it for towing. Maybe that's their policy, their procedure. But, that's not really his fault.
Yeah, it could have been handled differently, but I don't see like any major lines crossed of any kind. Honestly, like it was more civil than honking would have been.
You think?
I do, because honking would wake up everyone in the building, and at 1 a.m.
Oh, 1 a.m. Yeah.
An asshole neighbor.
Yeah, I may not do it at 1 a.m. That's a good point. That is a good point. When I did it was like, I think it was like about 6 o'clock at night. It was just when I got home. So yeah, no, that's fair. That does change things. Oh, look, I was annoyed. Maybe I still would do it and just be an arsehole to everybody. If you want to take it up with me, then take it up with the person who's in my frigging spot, quite frankly.
Right.
But I can't think of it because
fucker.
Every month there's people torn apart by crocodiles.
Sacrifice to the ancient gods.
Yeah, oh mate. This guy, I swear, what like crazy, insane world is this man living in? Oh, yeah, I get that the crocodiles are a problem, but I don't think it's due to the pagan gods and the, sacrificing and the ritual of the tree, mate. Like we've got to sort out the problems here. Woo. Okay. I'll do the poll and ask the people what they think. Should the poster not have had the car towed? That's towed. I just think that, hey, I probably would have reported it as well. Like even if I didn't want it towed, but if they said, hey, we're going to tow the car or mark it for towing, I'd be like, okay, appreciate it. To me, if I had done that and parked in someone's spot, I'd be sitting there going, oh, I'm so sorry for parking in your spot. I'd feel dreadful, right? If somebody was like, yeah, my wife had to park down the street even though we pay for this spot. I'd be like, I am so sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the person who had their car towed should be the one apologizing. Maybe that's just me. I feel like, oh crap, I screwed up in a big way. That's one of the
things is, a lot of these stories are like, this other person violated the social contract, but I feel bad about reacting to it,
Yeah, and like I get that, and I get that some people don't like conflict. I think when they parked in my spot, I think they gave me some carrot cake or something to apologize for it. They're very apologetic, because I was mad, right? I was really mad, and I said, look, I'm pretty angry. But I'd actually come from university. I'd spent all day coding, right? Like, and if you're unaware, coding can be really frustrating, because there'll be some damn reason why your code won't compile, and you have to work out what it is, and how to fix it, and it can be very, very frustrating. And as soon as you fix that, then you've screwed up two more things, kind of thing. It can be really frustrating. So I said, look, I've been coding all day. Just move your car. I want to park, in my parking spot that I own. Please. Like, so they were very, very, you know, understanding kind of thing. Understanding? Embarrassed, I guess?
Yeah,
I was pissed.
Little grade shame.
Yeah. But I was not a, oh, well, I'm sorry for getting angry. I was like, no, I've had a hard day and I'm pissed off. Look, if you've never coded before and you don't know the pain of making it work, like getting that compilation, like, just trust me, it's frustrating. It is frustrating. And I just had a particularly bad day. So, you know. Okay, let's see what the people have to say on Reddit. Oh God, I dread to think. She told me I could have come knocked. Knocked where? You had no idea who the car belonged to. Maybe she was in the car, and that's why she just knock on the door. She's in there. She told her it's. She said that told her it's first come first served. $10 says she didn't bother to pay attention enough to understand that yes, Uncovered is a free for all, but covered is paid. Well, it could have just been a misunderstanding as well. Like, we don't know that. We don't know that. Like, or it could be the office gave her the wrong information. It does happen. You know, like you go to the office and the office tells you something incorrect. It does happen occasionally.
Yeah, or she misunderstood, and maybe there's a sign, but it's like behind where the car's parked, so you would only see it if you know it's there, kind of thing. Who knows?
You are not the asshole. She's the big one, and don't let her intimidate you. She was wrong. Yeah, I do agree with that. Don't let her intimidate her because she was wrong. But ETA, you didn't get the car towed. You called security, and they towed the car. You did everything you were supposed to. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In this day and age, go knocking on doors at 1 a.m. until you found the owner could get you shot. Well, look, not everybody lives in America, okay? It's not like you knock on somebody's door at 1 a.m. and they shoot you, okay? Like, no.
Honestly,
no.
as a person who did repossessions for 3 years, my actual job was to knock on random people's doors at 1 a.m. I only had guns pulled on me a handful of times, and nobody ever actually shot. Well, okay, there was that one time, but that was when it's not important. They weren't shooting at me. They were just shooting.
That's horrifying. Yeah, no, I wouldn't go knocking on doors at 1 a.m. The problem is it is a reserved spot. Go buy a reserved parking sign. Well, you'd think they'd have one there, you know. Not the ass off what she told you is true. She can take it up with the office and it was their mistake, not yours. You pay for that spot, you get to use it. Also, you did the right thing not knocking on doors at 1 a.m. No one wants a surprise visitor at that time. Yeah, absolutely. You could have woken up babies that are hard to get. Okay, well, I mean, yeah. Or woken up people that have to work in the morning. Like, seriously, if you're getting up at like 7 to go to work, you don't want to be woken up at 1 a.m. It's not cool. You could have terrified some young person living on their own for the first time. Okay, these are edge cases, but okay, I'll pay them. But they are edge cases. But,
well,
you know...
I mean, it does come up. Like, I'm thinking of in the late 90s, I was a Magic the Gathering judge, and I got to go judge at Pro Tour New York. And a buddy of mine tagged along, so we drove down together. We found a motel, and the desk clerk goes, okay, you know, you've got a small fridge, the so-so AC, bulletproof glass, but parking is your own problem. And we're like, whoa, hold on. Do you need bulletproof glass? And he just kind of shrugged. And then that night we heard gunshots and somebody was breaking into another car using a gun by shooting out the window. And we're like, oh, wow. What have we gotten into?
No.
New Jersey, folks. Adventures every time.
Well, I think mostly the reason why you wouldn't do it is because the you know, most people are asleep and they need to get up for work, you know. Man, I know one guy I used to live next to, he was furious because someone woke him up, but he like drove a bus and had to get up at like 5 in the morning to start. And, you know, it was just so rude to do to a bus driver who, you know, if you're driving a bus tired, you're literally putting people's lives at risk, you know, like, and he was like, oh, don't get upset. And sort of, so I didn't get woken up by the person who was making the noise. It was the apartment above the guy I lived next to. So obviously it wasn't above me, but I came out for the fight, you know, they were arguing at one another up at the balcony where these guys were, you know, I don't know, stomping around my elephants or something. I don't know what happened. But like, he's like, oh, don't get all bent out of shape. We're just, you know, doing whatever. And I mean, I just spoke up and I said, listen, you're making a bus driver who's out on the road with multiple passengers tired, you know, in heavy machinery. What is wrong with you? Like, seriously, my guy. That is a recipe for disaster, right? Like, I don't want to be on the road with tired bus drivers. No. Like, just for my own self-preservation, don't do that. Seriously. Think of it this way. If you had gone knocking on random doors to find the car owner, multiple people would have been mad at you, including a neighbour whose car you'd towed. Well, I mean, I don't think they'd have any right to be mad at you, but sure. I'm sure if you'd woken her at 1 a.m., she would have given you some sad story to let her keep it there just for the night. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know about that. I would hope that she felt a bit embarrassed that she took somebody's spot. Not the arsehole. I have a hard time believing an apartment complex with limited and reserved parking doesn't have a sign that says violators will be towed, regardless of what she says the office told her. She fucked around and found out. Okay, well, let's just assume. I don't know. I don't know where they're from. I don't know anything about it. Sometimes, look, the signage in my place is pretty terrible. I gotta say. Like, sometimes they skimp on signage. It does happen. Like, just because it's not common doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what have the people got to say? What have the chatters got to say?
The word of the
Deviant Outcast here. Which god is the crocodile god? Oh.
Deviant
which is
was here, but only got partway through his segment.
Yeah.
I suspect the internet blanked again.
Maybe. Who was the crocodile god? Oh, I should know this. Anubis was the jackal-headed god.
Mm-hmm.
Set was the snake one. Oh, I don't remember. Let's
Google says Sobek.
Sobek, yes. Yes. It was Sobek. Yep. Absolutely right. Hello, my name is Ken Hoven. Yeah, I did too much of that. I'm all hovened out at the moment. I'm sorry. I believe somebody who used to be Ugly German Truths, but is lying about their identity, said people can be astonishingly unaware of such things like the spots are reserved. Maybe put a note on the windscreen first before towing. Yeah, that is true, but you know, I guess he just informed security and security took the action. Don't know what a DAP is. I've ever been jacked up or yelled at. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been an option to put a note instead of talking to security, since I ended up parking it on the street anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make a difference for that night, but
yeah.
You know.
Aunt Jess, it sounds like she misunderstood. Not all the spots first come, first served, just the uncovered one. Yeah, I agree. But, you know, you can't put it past somebody to go, hey, I don't care, and just take the spot not realizing what the consequences are, that just wants to ignore it. Because the spots in my place are very clearly marked as owner spots, and they're even numbered, and, you know, for each unit, and people still parked in my spot. So some people just ignore it.
Yeah, sometimes
they just do.
Roll the dice and take your chances. I've been in places with on-street parking that's like that, where it's like technically the parking in front of your house is yours, but since it's on the street, it can't be reserved because it's a public street.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to piss off the neighbors by knocking on doors, yeah. Reed says, I'd have left a polite note with a warning to tow if the car isn't gone by noon the next day. Yeah, that's fair. No, I think we can sort of, you know, agree that, hey, polite note is a good idea. But, you know, he told security and security marked it for towing. So I don't know. I think he didn't do anything wrong, though, for informing security. I think that's something you would probably want to do. And I think I agree that it wasn't him that towed the car. I mean, he didn't call the towing company. He didn't do anything. He just told security about it. I think we can agree that Trump is the arsehole. Yeah, pretty much. The amount of money he's making off Bitcoin and stuff as well is disgusting. Like, seriously. It's
the biggest
disgusting.
asshole. They've never seen an asshole like me.
Yeah. I'm the greatest asshole that's ever lived. You never hear about it.
In days to come.
Getting safety to an impound that isn't that sure either, so I wouldn't agree with a towing for the first transgression. No, that's fair. That's fair. Andrew has cracked the code. We can all go home now. Okay, yeah, rip my view hours. Go for it. I don't, you know, why not? Why not? And why aren't the paid for places marked? Yeah, I mean, it probably a matter of signage. Sometimes it's not great, as I said, but or they just decided that they would roll the dice, like Ember said. Sometimes they go, well, I'll be in and out in an hour. Nobody will need it in that time. Yeah, you don't know that. You know, it's 1 a.m. in the morning. If they're not parked there now, they're probably not going to come back tonight. Yeah, you may assume that. Not necessarily the case. Not the arsehole, the office is. Yeah, office or security, you know. I mean, I do appreciate, though, from living in a place where the office, like, or what we call them strata, they don't do that much. It's like you have to pull teeth to get them to do anything. I do appreciate that they took some fucking action. Like, seriously, it is really hard to get my strata to address anything. You know, and it can be frustrating when they don't do anything. I'm actually kind of impressed that the office did something, or the security did something. I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's
Sobek,
a lot. Like,
right.
I also used to work as a security officer, and in New York State, you have to be licensed to do that. And sometimes you get people who are like, sometimes you gotta be an asshole. Other people who are like, I live for being an asshole. And then other people who just want to sit at their desk and watch videos for their whole shift. You know, it's say la vie.
Mixed bag, I guess. Yeah, it's like any job, really.
Yeah.
By the way, the usual nickname for American in Germany is Ami. So Ami the asshole reads very differently to me. Well, accurate.
That's true.
Abused Sobek, okay. Apologize for parking in a reserved space I did not know about. Sure. Apologizing after getting towed without warning. Nope. No, I still would. Maybe, like, you know, because it's still really inconvenient somebody. Their signs should say, maybe they do. We don't know. We don't have that information. I get you, STS. It should, you know, clear and evident signage is definitely something that should be there, but I don't know whether or not it was. That's the question.
We need pics for this one.
Yeah, depending on where they live, towing will be insanely expensive too, and a heckle to get your car back. Yeah, okay. No, I get you. It is annoying, but and very inconvenient, but also rocking up to your spot and it not being available is very inconvenient as well. Does it say the reserved spots are not marked? I will check for you, but it's only because it's you, aren't you? Doesn't say. It just says our complex has open parking spots that are first come, first served. They also have covered ones you can pay for. So it doesn't really say. I feel like if they can be towed, then they ought to have warnings that, hey, if you park here, your car could be towed, kind of thing. You know, permit parking only, like somebody said. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. That they should be legally required to warn you if your car could be towed. And, you know, part of me thinks that maybe there was that there. And now we know why Mark is bald. Okay, well, that's just rude. That's just rude. As a former lineman for a phone company, yeah, well, I mean, I've done the office work for phone companies. I've been in and out of thousands of homes and have interesting stories. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Da-na-na-na-da-da. Da-na-na-na-da-da. Okay. That's the X-Men theme. If you know, you know. If I grew up with that cartoon. I thought that cartoon was amazing. I thought it was awesome.
I enjoyed the cartoon. I also enjoyed the arcade game.
Hmm.
It was
No.
really fun. Now the different powers it killed the Sentinels, and you'd like some battles you'd want to change characters for a specific power set. It was very strategic.
That is not thought. It's thoth. Okay, it's got a H on the end.
Yeah.
Thought is something a bit different. I will say that.
Thought is an entirely different flavor of goddess.
The cat goddess was Bast, and the hippo goddess, I can't remember, but yeah, that was something as well.
She was very hungry. We all know about the legend of the hungry hippos.
Yes, the person said they went and got their wife's car after the other one was towed. Yeah. Yep. Yep, absolutely. In my old apartment, they've cut the power, so I'm packing candle and oil lamp, no fridge, no coffee, no stove. Oh, okay, yeah. Deviant, don't waste your charge on aimbot. Like, seriously, if you need to charge, hold it for movers, I'm all for it. Yeah, okay. But good luck with your move. I wish I could help you, but it's way too far for me. Way too far.
Bit of a drive.
Martino, welcome. Not the arsehole. How was OP supposed to know it was a new neighbor in the office lied, so office should pay? Yeah, I agree. OP didn't even reply to questions in post. Okay. Oh, Jess says there's an entire genre of YouTube videos of people parking their cars in tow areas and then their cars are getting towed. What new form of entertainment is this? Like, I parked something happened to me that I knew would happen. What is this?
I feel like this is sort of like a Bondi rescue type thing, except it's like it's the
Bondi?
parking people like who run a theater or whatever, and they're like, you can't park here, this is a loading zone, we're preparing for a show, whatever, and the person's like, bugger off, and then they call a tow truck. And so it doesn't make sense from the perspective of the person who gets towed, but the person who's constantly calling in the tow truck, they get to film them parking, their refusal to move, and then them being towed.
Oh, got you.
Get a little social karma being rather satisfactory.
Okay, so it's
just a guess though. I don't actually know.
It's like cops for parking attendants kind of thing, like.
Yeah.
You know, okay, gotcha.
Because like people doing it to their own cars, like we're here on Fifth Avenue and we're gonna park in a no parking zone and see how long it takes the police to tow our car. Like, why would you do that? There's no way you're gonna make enough in views and whatnot. Probably not even with sponsorships to cover the cost of your car being impounded. You know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think you're going to make your money back off that. But hey, I could be wrong. Look, I could be wrong. I don't know how YouTube and the algorithm works. It could like prioritize them to the very top of the list. I've got no idea. Okay, it
I
could
mean,
be the
maybe
greatest thing ever.
I was just learning about Shane Dawson's early career from Kalen Conrad, because Shane has joined the plagiarism train in his most recent videos. But
Apparently so.
his early career apparently was just being as offensive as possible, like blackface and humping statues in public
Oh,
and
I
whatever.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
like just
really
being a
stupid
dick seemed
shit.
to get
Yeah.
rewarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not, up to date with Shane Dawson. I never have been. I've heard of him, never really engaged with his stuff. I know that he did some really horrible things, and I don't, that kind of culture just doesn't interest me. I think that I'll just do one more. I'm really sorry. I feel a bit off. Lynn had a cold, and I think she's given it to me because apparently sharing is caring. So I feel a
I was
bit
just thinking that.
sinusy. Yeah. It's kind of just, yeah. It's a problem, but yeah. I'll just do one more. I do apologize, everybody. I just feel a little under the weather. But people stupid shit and record each other. Yeah, I know. I don't like. So one of the things that I hate is cringe stuff, like people being embarrassed, like embarrassment stuff. It just I guess the secondhand cringe I get is just too much for me. I really hate it. I hate that kind of cringy stuff. Am I the arsehole for refusing my parents? Hang on, I'll just make sure this is not being closed down. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Am I the arsehole for refusing my parents' curfew and 24/7 tracking while I'm trying to study and maintain somewhat of a social life while away from college for a semester? What? Wait, what? Hey, how old do people go in college? Oh, it's early 20s? Jesus,
Okay.
yeah, no. Why do you have a curfew early 20s?
As long as you live under our roof, you live by our rules.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Well, you're not an arsehole for doing that. You just, there might be consequences of them saying, hey, you can't live at our house if you're coming in at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Like, there's consequences for that, but you're not an arsehole. If you agreed to it and said, yes, I'll be home by a certain, yeah, maybe you're an arsehole. There's too much to do on this one. I need way more information. Way more information. What do you think?
Given just the title, probably not, because it
Probably
seems
not.
like kind of a dick thing to do to your 20-year-old.
Yep.
I mean, if my parents tried it when I was 20, I'd be like,
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, my parents would never try it when I was 20 because I was out of the home by 18. So, that wouldn't be a thing. But yeah, I might go, if they tried to put a curfew on me at that age, I would go, I'm 20 something. I'm not 16. You can't, like, just,
yeah.
There's no way. There's no way. Early 20s, moved back home temporarily after living 8 hours away at university for 2 years. I'm still fully enrolled, currently taking 8 college classes online, plus at community college. I only came home because my mental health was declining. Okay, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is a problem. It doesn't mean that people can step in and rule your life, though. And I didn't want to destroy my GPA. With that being said, I seek quiet places outside of my residence to complete schoolwork, and have continued to do so while I have come home. And mind you, I genuinely go to the same 5 places. I hang out with one friend, who my family has known for a little over 10 years. Okay. Still, my parents have become so confusingly obsessed with my location. They are tracking my location 24/7, and although they can see where I am, they still send me spam texts and calls asking what I am doing or why I'm there for so long, or if I am with someone. Yeah, that's sort of, I get that you're having a hard time at the moment. That doesn't mean that your parents can just jump into, determine who you're spending time with, what you're doing, kind of thing. A lot of parents do try to do that. They try to control their kids' lives because they know best for them, kind of thing. No, no. They're adults. They have to make their own decisions.
Well, it sounds like this is new behavior. It wasn't something that was happening for the first 2 years while the kid was away at college.
Right.
At least that's how it seems. So if it's new behavior, then I can see there's two obvious things. It could be any number of other things, but the two things that pop into mind are, first, it's the parents deliberately being a pain to try to motivate the child to leave again. Get out on your own, flap your wings, all that sort of thing. But that seems a little dickish and passive aggressive. The other more likely possibility, in my estimation, is they know that there was a decline in the mental health, which is why the child is back. And so now they're extra worried. Like, are you okay?
Yes.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and parents, they get a lot of stories from other people. Oh, this person had a decline in mental health, went out and partied, and then they ended up doing drugs and ending up on the street. There is this sort of culture of, well, if somebody's having a hard time, they could a catastrophism kind of thing, catastrophism, that they could end up, knocked up and whatever. I don't even know if it's a guy or a girl, to be honest with you. I suppose it doesn't matter, but
I don't know if it's said, but yeah,
doesn't
it's
matter.
not super important. No, I get that. I mean, a bunch of stories come to mind, but the most pertinent, I suppose, is my older daughter. When she was in middle school, one of her friends unalived himself, and it hit her really, really hard.
Right. Yep.
And so I was worried, because often that kind of thing can become contagious. When a person is hurt that hard, sometimes they want to follow their friend so they can stop hurting. And so I didn't get like that degree of overprotective, but I made a point of checking in with her much more often.
Well, I think that what the person should have to do is sort of set some boundaries around it, but also be really upfront with their parents, kind of thing. Because, at early 20s, we don't want to tell our parents everything that we're doing, because, sometimes we're up to a bit of mischief, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I had a bit of a rough childhood at that age, did some things I probably shouldn't have. But at the end of the day, they're not things I would discuss with my parents, but you can still say, hey, don't worry, I'm being cautious. Reassure them a little bit, understanding that the things that they're going to hear are probably going to be the worst stories, right? Because the stories that'll get passed around by parents isn't going to be, oh yeah, they had some mental health issues, but they're okay. They're continuing onwards. The ones that are going to stick with them are, this person lost their kid. Or they turned to drugs, dropped out of school, and now they're in a hippie commune under a cult or something. You know what I mean? Like, these are the stories that are going to stick with them, and it's just human nature, because when someone's doing okay, it doesn't stick with you as much as Emily got caught up with this person, and now they're in a cult, kind of thing. Those are the ones that are going to stick with you. So sort of reassuring them, hey, I'm doing okay, and I will let you know if I'm struggling or something happens. It's probably a good idea. But yeah, this is way too much. Like, you've got to set some boundaries over this to say, hey, it's not acceptable that you demand to know where I am. I am an adult. I don't need to tell you. I will tell you if there's problems. Yeah, my phone battery is trash, and Find My drains it. So Find My Phone or whatever drains it. So when I'm in one spot for over an hour, I turn location off. Well, yeah, that's fair. Sometimes it drops on its own because of bad service. Every single time I get accused of lying or hiding something, Why? Meanwhile, I over-communicate. I text where I am when I leave, when I'll be home, if plans change. I don't smoke, vape, do drugs, or drink unless socially, which I have not done at all for the 6 months I've been home. Well, if you're having some drinks with mates at 20, that's nothing unusual about that. Like, seriously, as long as you're not driving, I don't see the problem. Well, actually, it's 21 for Americans, isn't it? I totally forgot about that.
For the most part, it's really only an issue when there's something happens after a house party or a bartender gets caught serving someone underage, because then it's like they did their job wrong. But it's kind of expected that everybody over 18 is going to go to parties and drink.
Yeah, well, it's 18 here. So at 18, you can vote, you can drive, you can drink. Everything's kind of 18s when you're considered an adult. I average around 1 a.m. Yeah, because it's kind of weird that in America, what's strange to me is that at 18 you can vote. You're sort of considered an adult for everything except alcohol. Like, you can own a gun, you can... you're sort of tried as an adult at 18, right? Like, you're not tried as a juvenile at 18. That's when your record gets your juvenile record gets put away, right?
Yeah, it varies for a whole bunch of things. We've been breaking it up more. Like it varies from state to state, but here in New York, you can't smoke until you're 22. Like 21 isn't even good enough. You could have a drink before you could have a cigarette.
Yeah, it's strange because, like, most things are like 18 as far as the law's concerned for your responsibility under the law, except for these, like, very, very specific things. It's just weird to me, like, that it's not just, 18 that you're an adult under the law. You're not tried as a juvenile anymore. You go through the adult system. You can vote at 18. You can drink at 18. That's what happens in Australia. It's just 18, you're considered an adult kind of thing.
Yeah, we used to have the same thing because the idea was if you can get drafted into the army and sent off to war, you should be able to vote on whether we go to war. You should at least be able, if you can hold a gun, you can hold a beer, that sort of thing.
I saw a comedian do a stand-up. I can't remember who it was, but they sort of said, we want to bring back the times when... the politicians, led our troops in the war. Like, they were actually the guy up the front on horseback with a sword kind of thing. Like, if they had to fight in the war, there'd be a lot less wars around, And I'm
that's a really good point. That isn't how things actually ever work, though, because people think like, Washington, great general, good president.
Yeah.
Eisenhower, great general, kind of hit or miss on president, but he was a president, that sort of thing. But they weren't leading troops while they were leaders, it was while they were coming up.
Look,
yeah.
Even if they did lead troops, it would be at the back. Like, the general wasn't the guy up the front kind of thing. I totally get that. But I think that if there was a chance that you could be killed, you would still, like, if you had to go to Iraq and possibly get hit with a missile, like, you might reconsider whether you want to invade that country kind of thing, like, I'm just saying, if Putin had to be on, like, in, the general's tent, and there has been generals of Russia killed in the Ukraine war, he might not actually go for that. Like, if it's his life on the line. Just saying, it's a pretty smart comment, that hey. But I think that sort of a comedy sketch, and sort of he was saying, remember when generals used to lead? Yeah, they did, but they led from the rear. Let's not forget that. They didn't.
They still do, by and large.
Yes. So let's not forget that. I average around 1 a.m., but have been coming back around 11:30, 12 a.m., if not earlier, more often. A few nights ago, I got home around 1 a.m. from studying and walked into an intervention. For what?
We're your family and we care about you not being trackable.
You hurt us by having your own life. Because my location glitched, I was labeled dishonest and disrespectful. We've had multiple boundary talks. Okay, so they have been doing the right thing and setting some boundaries. It always resets to control. While with my friend, sorry, they have called me and full on screamed at me, telling me all kinds of things like I'm reckless or a college dropout. Right. So I think this is sort of telling what their fear is. So don't forget, all fear will be based upon, well, all anger will be based upon fear or pain, right? Like, so pain or fear, pain of a memory maybe, like, but mostly it's due to these fears that we have. Not necessarily of the person you're angry at, but something else, and you're transferring that anger onto them. So they're afraid of them ruining their chances, having a bad life, but they're transferring it into anger at them, right? Like, how dare you do this thing because I'm afraid. You know, college dropout. Yeah, I get that college is important, but it's not the end of the world. That's the thing. Lots of people have very good lives.
Whichever.
Yeah. Which is absolutely not the case. I'm still an enrolled student in my university. I'm here for 1 semester. We're in week 8 of the semester and my grades are all in the high 90s. And yet they keep patronizing me with, you need to study. That's where they just got from.
Like,
I can totally understand if you're in a sort of a course in university and you want to get out of your house because your parents keep hassling you on what you're doing. What are you doing? Are you studying? Yeah, just leave me alone to study. And if they don't, that's their responsibility. Wow. And when academics didn't work to defend their point, they accused me of secretly seeing my friend's co-worker.
How dare you date, college student child?
a guy who picked me up. So I'm assuming this is probably maybe a woman because, like, usually, and I'm not saying it's right, but usually these kind of parents won't have a problem with the guy dating, but they will with their daughter dating, which is sort of just that latent misogyny that creeps in, you know, which is just ridiculous. When academics didn't work to defend their point, they accused me of secretly seeing my friend's co-worker, a guy who picked me up once when the 3 of us hung out together. My friend was literally in the car. At that time, I'd just left an abusive ex. Oh, God. Which they knew about. They said, you must have left your ex for this new guy. What?
That's not how that works. I would have been like, ooh, rebound, high five, you know? But I'm also not a conventional parent.
Well, I mean, you might say, hey, you know, just be aware that rebounds are not the healthiest relationships sometimes, but you're a grown adult and, you know, you're aware of the consequences. You get to make your own mistakes and out. These parents are terrible. They said, you must have left your ex for this new guy. It completely invalidated the abuse I trusted enough to tell them about. Also, I am 20. Yeah, that's more the point. Personally, I do not think there should be that much involvement in my romantic life unless my partner of choice puts me in genuine risk. Yeah. It's up to you how much your parents are in. Okay. They say it's all for my safety, but if I actually needed help, I wouldn't tell them. They wouldn't protect me. They'd keep me home indefinitely. Yeah, and that's the problem. Because you're so overbearing, your child is afraid to tell you about any problems because you're gonna overreact. It's actually antithetical to what you want, which is saying, hey, you make your own choices. The consequences are yours, but we're here if you need us. But sometimes you've got to wear the consequences of your decisions. So be wise enough to choose. You know, you've got to, like, you're not going to be there forever. You're not. they're going to have to make their own choices and wear the consequences at some point. And it sounds like they're very happy to. I told them I'll share my location only when I'm going somewhere new or far from home. They hate that. I'm done sharing 24/7. Yeah, I don't blame you. You know, you've got to allow a 20-year-old to have some things that they don't want to share with their parents. It sucks, I know, but you know, that's at 20, did you want to tell your parents everything you were doing? I'm damn sure I didn't. Like,
oh, I as a parent, I didn't want to hear everything my kids were up to as they went through their 20s. I'm just like, you know, here's a phone. Make sure you keep it with you, keep it safe. And here's an app on your phone that will just touch the damn thing, and it'll automatically connect to the police and send me a text message with your location and anybody else you have flagged as an emergency contact. Like, here's a few safety things. But I don't need to hear what you get up to with your significant other.
and if you get into trouble, I'm here for you. But, you know, try not to get into trouble and make choices that won't land you in trouble, because it will suck. The consequences are not good. Go and learn what consequences are. You know, like, you've got to learn that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we all do.
Know. I told my kids as they each reach dating age, I was like, I want you to have a nice time, but I also need you to understand the first few relationships almost always do not work. And experiencing your heartbreak is part of growing up. So understand going into it, you may get your heart broken.
Yes.
You need to be aware of that, eyes open going in, you know?
Yep. And, you know, be on the lookout for those red flag behaviors, you know, controlling behavior, you know, aggression when it's not deserved, you know, like, you know, blaming you, gaslighting, that kind of thing. Be aware of those red flags, but you know, if you want to ignore those, you can. It's just the consequences can be terrifying. Am I the arsehole for refusing their curfew, not keeping location on 24/7? Absolutely not. Clarification, because a user mentioned this. They had find my phone or whatever on during school too. They asked questions and spammed calls and texts just the same. It just never exploded into anything bigger because I did not have to see them at the end of the day. And there was virtually nothing they could do if I turned off my location while 8 hours away. Just got more accessible and worse when I came home. Okay, so they're always like this. Ugh. You know,
that changes the picture quite a bit.
I'm getting that, like, you know, I know it's slightly racist, but I'm getting that, like, Asian parent meme thing, you know, son, I am disappoint kind of stuff, you know, like.
Oh. You only get 95 on. Oh Jesus, Ember, that's racist as fuck. But I mean, we've seen the depictions, right? Like, you're not perfect, therefore you are failing.
Mm-hmm. Unrelenting standards is what it's called. It's not great. It's not great.
I was like that with myself.
Well, yeah, that's what happens. People are like that with themselves and sort of letting go and saying, you know, okay is good enough, you know, like that's okay. Okay is okay. You don't have to be perfect. That's fine.
Yeah, the consequences are burnout. That's exactly what happened to me. Is I went gung-ho, you know, I did all the different running sports, 3 different track teams, the soccer team, etc., the science Olympiad, the drama club, and community theater, and kept an over 4.0 GPA for 3 years straight. And then finally I was like, I don't care. And my grades went to shit my senior year.
Last poll, moral poster is morally correct. Yeah, I agree with that one. I do. I'll start another poll. Sorry, I didn't actually look up the poll results. I was interested in what you all thought. Was the poster right for refusing her parents' oversight? Let's just call it oversight. Let's just call it. I was going to call it overbearing, but yeah, just let's call it oversight. What level of oversight is a matter of debate, I guess. I mean, look, I think, and teenagers, they need to have their own space. It just doesn't like they feel like they have their own space. Start poll. Yeah, and like school isn't the be all and end all. I just want to say that, companies that you work for, they're more, I mean, having education's good. Don't get me wrong, it is good, but they prefer experience. Right? So if you have two people, one fresh out of college with this college degree and somebody that's worked in the industry, they'll go for the person that's worked in the industry. Because experience is worth way more than just sort of learning kind of thing. But if you have both, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So it is important, but it's not the end of the world kind of thing. It's not the end of the world. And it is important. I'm not going to say, oh, look at, Branson or something who was a, dropout of high school and is now a billionaire. Well, that's an edge case, that doesn't happen a lot. It can happen.
Winning the lotto or better than that.
Right. But it is, so education's still very important. It's just, it isn't like your life is going to be a living nightmare if you don't, do well in college and stuff. That's not the case. That is not the case.
Completing a college education doesn't guarantee your life won't be a nightmare. Exhibit A.
Right. Right. But, education definitely does help. If not for anything else, just critical thinking and, being able to experience new ideas and things, it's definitely worthwhile, aside from the actual job prospects and things. And I think we've got to steer away from sort of having a work-life balance. Not everything is about work. You've got to have a balance in your life between work and other things that you enjoy. You've got to have something that you enjoy just for you as well. And, it isn't just all about work. That is, you see people who are workaholics and they don't do well. I'll put it that way.
I feel like you're judging me, Mark.
No, not you. I don't think you're a workaholic. I think that you have plenty of stuff out. I think you spend a lot of time with your children. I think you have other things that you enjoy doing, like the conventions and stuff. That isn't, that there is a bit of work involved, but they're more hobbies for you. I think you're fine. I don't. Mind you, I'm not you. I don't know. Maybe you aren't. I don't know.
I actually had to justify. I had one of those brief conversations with the different, personifications of personality in my head, like the internal critic and whatnot, where like, Ember, maybe, what are you doing right now? And I'm like, it's not work. This isn't my channel. I'm having fun. I'm just relaxing and having fun. Fuck off, brain.
I mean, you like doing your makeup. You're doing your nails right now. I just, yeah. Like you didn't go searching through Bob Catter videos to find the funniest ones of this complete mental case in Australian Parliament. I'm the one that did. I'm the one working, having to go through the insane videos to try and find Bob Catter talking about the crocodile gods and the pagan rituals of the tree. That's me. Let 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. But once a month, Australians have to look up crazy videos. I can't get over how ridiculous that man is. Oh, hello, Tilting Windmill. You dropped in. Good to see you. Did some other people come in that I have to say hello to? This stream I get to say hello to people. I do like it. Chrissy, hello, Chrissy. Yeah. My kiddo is... I was out at 19 and never looked back, says Left-Handed Jedi. No fair. Chrissy follows up with, my kiddo is 20 this year and I can't get her to leave the house. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I gotta say, as a 20-year-old or whatever, like from someone that was sort of out at 18, I can sort of say, hey, you know, if you get the opportunity to live with your parents a bit later, don't pass it up. Like, it really is a lot easier than going out on your own and having to adult by yourself. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to leave home. Ugly German Truth says, another question, why isn't there a quiet place to study at home? Are the parents intrusive as well when they are there? I would say so, mate. I would say so, to be honest with you. That's what it sounds like to me anyway. I think that that's the case. So I can really understand if you want to, you know, go to the library and study because your parents are always just bugging you. Tilting says, my best friend's kids are in their mid to late 20s still at home. Yeah, I don't judge anybody for that. I don't, you know. Chrissy says, I don't mind she's not home so much as I worry she might forget what grass feels like. No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I get that with my son. He's still living at the other parent's house, and he literally only gets out when I bring him places.
Really? Putin's main home has 7 anti-air emplacements. Wow. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you.
You realize, of course, that's his decoy house, because he's a KGB devious devil.
Tilting says, no, how are they a college dropout if they're still enrolled and doing the work? Well, I think they're just worried that they will become a college dropout. You know, I think that they're just sort of catastrophizing worst case scenarios kind of thing. I think that's what they're talking about. Which, you know, everybody does catastrophizing in some way, like you go over the worst possibility. I think it is a byproduct, an unfortunate byproduct of evolution, where it was the silly ape that went over the worst case scenarios that was more likely to survive. But in today's age, it causes a lot of unnecessary stress because that might not necessarily happen. So we have a tendency to catastrophize, and it's just one of those things that it may not be the best for us because evolution doesn't care. You know, like there's a lot of unfortunate byproducts of it, which is, you know, it is what it is. This is the kind of treatment I feared with my parents and why I chose to go to college 400 miles away. My parents totally would have been like these parents. Yeah, no, a lot of them are. Because as I said, the stories that stick with them are the, you know, Larry dropped out of college and joined a satanic cult kind of thing.
I kind of, again, it's speculation based on the limited information we have, but I get the sense that there's an abuse dynamic. Like when they say stuff like you're a college dropout, it's that manipulation tactic of I'm trying to hurt you so you obey. And the fact that they just got out of a relationship with an abusive ex, it's circumstantial and it's based on partial information.
That's interesting. Yeah.
People who are you know, grow up in an abusive, manipulative environment are more vulnerable to abusive, manipulative partners when they first get out on their own.
Yeah, and that does seem manipulative to me. Yeah, you're right. And that's an interesting sort of trajectory. I'm glad that she's sort of breaking the cycle by getting away from them in that case. Even if she left the guy for another dude, there was no abuse. What the frick is it to the parents? Yeah, and this is the thing. A lot of parents, they cannot let go of that. You know, because when they're a lot younger, you've got to make their decisions for them, right? Like, you've got to be able to say, hey, no, do not just wander out on the street because they are so young. And a lot of parents can't let that go. And it's a problem because you've got to let it go, or else your children will end up resenting you because they want to express their own things. They want to, you know, make their own choices. And unfortunately, that's the way the law sees it as well. You cannot hold them at home as much as you want to. You can't lock them in their room anymore. You know, you're not allowed to. Even if you think, you know, you're a Christian who thinks that the devil is out there wandering the world trying to, you know, get them into drugs and stuff, you still can't, you know, tape them up. And wasn't there like a case where somebody taped their children to chairs or something? Just horrible stuff. Horrible stuff. I think it was like a person that did YouTube and had like a thing on how to, you know, like a Christian channel on how to like treat your children, and they were literally taping them to chairs that no one knew about until like one of them got free. Really weird crap, you know.
I only had that happen once. I forget how old I was. I was small. I was still in elementary school, but my brother had stolen the last cookie from the cookie jar, and my parents had had enough. They were like, this theft is outrageous, and you know, you both say you didn't do it. One of you is lying, but we have no way to know which one for sure. So neither of you move until somebody confesses. And eventually they ended up taping us to the damn chairs.
Wow, that's just abuse.
Yes.
That's just downright abusive. That's awful. I'm so sorry, Ember. That sucks. No, she got the woman that did that got busted. She was actually arrested. That is abuse. You can't do that. Holy crap. Toting says the 3 months after I spent my folks after graduation, worst 10 years of my life. Yeah, no, I hear you, mate. I couldn't live with my parents after I left home. There's no way. No way. STS says some of the people I know with parents like this, they become pretty wild after they were away from their parents. Yeah, well, I mean, it's strange because you get parents that act like this who were wild in their youth, so they know what kind of trouble you can get yourself into, right? Because they did all of these things when they were younger, but, you know, you should think of it as, well, you survived and you came out okay. So why would you expect any different from your kids? You know, like, but yeah. And yeah, how much of that pushes them into it? Look, I don't know, but yeah, time to go, no contact. Hey, Jen, how you doing? Good to see you. Time to go, no contact. Well, that's the problem, right? Like if you're going to intrusively, you know, get into your kids' lives that much, they will push you away and you won't have any relationship with them. That's a problem. Because even like this person is saying, even if I had a problem, I wouldn't go to them because they would overreact. And that is the consequence of being so intrusive. Like you want to be there in case they need help. But if you're going to be that intrusive, they won't ask you for help.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not worth it. Because nothing is worth that. Reed says, this is one where I feel like there's a lot missing from the other side. There seems to be a sudden and dramatic shift in the parents' level of comfort with her freedom. Well, that's true, Reed, and we don't know what that is. It may be that she was in an abusive relationship, that they don't trust her to make her own decisions because maybe she stayed with somebody who was very manipulative and you know, even physically abusive maybe. So maybe they've sort of gone, well, you know, you stayed with them and we don't understand why. We don't understand what you're thinking, so we're afraid you may make the same mistake again. Might be something like, we don't know. But regardless of what it is, you can't just go, well, you know, and especially they said they're having mental health problems. They might not be confident in their ability to make decisions. But, you know, Yeah, no, I get you. Mental problems is especially short on details. I get you. I get you. Being okay with her going up to college and being free. No, they weren't okay. Like, that's the thing. When she was at college, they were ringing her constantly. She said that in the update. Oh, yeah, you got that. Okay, gotcha, Reed. Yeah, no, fair enough. They were always like that. Yeah, I would say though it's exacerbated, because if she's away at college, they can go, oh well, she's doing fine. If she has had some problems and is living at home because she's had some problems, that could be a trigger for, oh, she's going downhill and going to lose everything. Like, dropping out of college is the end of your life. It isn't. But that might not be what they're thinking. I don't know. Ugly German truths. My guess would either be a cult adjacent strict church culture that does not approve anything reeking of individuality, or a couple that deeply regrets having had children. Wait, you're too young and unable to see others are not the same situation all the time. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there can be a lot of reasons. I mean, we don't know if she had a brother or a sister that had problems. That can sometimes trigger it in parents. When you see one child go through a hard time and the other have behaviors that are similar, parents can react like that. It's, as I said, we catastrophize. We think it's the worst case scenario. Stephen, he would be proud, Ember. Stephen He? I don't know who that is. Stephen
He's
He
a
would be proud.
Irish Chinese comedian.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
familiar with a lot of his work, but when I expect that was from when I was doing the bit about Asian parents are like, you got a 99, you're practically failing.
Fair enough. It's still possible whatever issue at school scared them massively too. Not saying it's okay, just adding. Yeah, no, I get you. It's the first time freedom thing from the parents. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if this is the oldest child. A lot of parents have a great deal of trouble letting go.
There are helicopter parents, and then there are Ukrainian drone swarm parents. Jokes. Yeah, no, I get you. Well, I didn't know what a latchkey kid was until somebody like Lynn mentioned it. And then I'm like, wow, I was a latchkey kid and had no idea what it meant, kind of thing. Like I had no idea.
Yeah, so it was just it was like the brand name version of the program.
Yeah. Stop the stupidity.
Too.
I wish I listened to a parent's mumble. Yeah. Mostly on the financial stuff. Yeah, I mean, my mother was right about a whole load of things afterwards. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I got a BA. I wish I turned to labor union instead. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Homo sapiens. The worst thing I've ever seen in terms of American parenting is the Christian anti-masting cross. Oh, masturbating cross they're supposed to. I thought that was a joke. That was a joke product. The anti-masturbation cross. That was 100% a joke. Oh, if you don't know about it, it's... Hang on a second.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm like...
I've used that like as a joke, like open image. Haven't you seen that?
No.
I thought it was a joke. Hang on, it's got a website here, www.stopmasturbationnow.com.
5+ years worrying about your 5-year-old. Okay, first of all, if you've ever had a little boy, 5 is already a little too late. Oh goodness. It's like either you're way too late or way too early. But I mean, what do evangelicals care about, reality? Put him on a fucking cross. Oh my.
Okay. So if you go to the website that this says, and I've gotta show this. This is great. Why didn't it share? Share. So this article is masturbation particulate count in water twisters spout concern. Right.
Okay.
While a water spout is often weaker than most of its land counterparts, stronger versions spawned by bodies of water with high semen content do occur. Water spouts do not suck up water. The water seen in the main funnel cloud is actually semen droplets formed by the chemical reaction of spilled seed in warmed water. While many water spouts form in the tropics, other areas also report water spouts, including Europe, New Zealand, the Great Lakes, and other areas where there is a high occurrence of masturbation. Source: BLUFF Faith Facts. So bluff faith facts. Okay. It is no surprise that there is a correlation between the instances of damaging higher category water spouts and an increase in hand release among Americans. The Lord has certainly seen to that. All of this is proof that God smites flesh sinners. The SMN ministry urges those who masturbate to repent and sin no more. Can I please see some keep calm and masturbate in the chat, please?
Holy shit.
Here we go. 17-year-old girl struck by lightning while masturbating. Is this work friendly? There is nothing more disgusting than the thought of a teenage girl touching herself. Well, nature agrees too. Jennifer Connery of Hoagland, Nebraska, was struck by lightning this past Tuesday while masturbating outside behind a tree. We don't let our kids masturbate in the home for this very reason, so I guess she had to sneak outside. Embarrassed father Winston Connery was quoted as saying when contacted. According to medical experts, the moisture between her genitals and her fingertips serves as a conductor and caused a lot of damage to nerve endings. There is a good chance she will not regain feeling it either. She is lucky to have only been using 2 fingers at the time. It could have been so much worse, Carol Rogers, pediatric nurse, responded. Right now, I think she is just embarrassed she had to learn the lesson the hard way. Yeah, this is not a serious thing. How to spot a masturbator?
It's fucking incredible the amount that they're putting into it, though. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It's
The
just
real
when they were talking about the water spouts in the Great Lakes, it reminded me when I was in college. I worked for Domino's Pizza, and I delivered to one of the SUNY colleges in my city here, and they had signs on the stairwells of the dorms saying, "Boys, please stop masturbating in the shower. Semen is not actually water soluble, and you're clogging the pipes."
Oh no.
I was like, ew. But it was also kind of funny.
The goal of masturbation is to achieve climax by stimulating one's genitals in a combination of the following self-grape methods. Fantasizing about another person or persons. In doing this, you are mentally graping that person. You have no right to be thinking those thoughts. Even if you are married and your spouse has given you permission in the past, does not mean you still have permission. Just as how one-time consent does not mean permanent consent in a physical relationship. Looking at dirty magazines. You are mentally graping the person that you are looking at. Liberals might argue the person gave consent when doing the picture shoot, but you don't not know that for sure. The person may be married now or have grown ugly. Watching dirty movies. As with number 1 or 2, you might as well be Ted Bundy, illegally having your way with the peoples you are exploiting for your own sickening gratification. The World Wide Web. The internets are full of filth. Computers should be for taxes, online Bible studies, or logging on to Stop the Masturbation Now website. Past experiences. Sure, that 3-way you had with the cheerleader and her sorority sister in college may have been a good time. However, recalling the sinful pleasure they presented you all night is the same as repeating that sin all over again. Bonus faith fact. Some females and gay males use foreign objects and dinguses when masturbating. In doing so, they are graping the raw materials of this world.
The Poor carrots.
Ah, dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm sorry. I just lost the page. That's frigging hilarious. That's actually, that's quite good. I like it. I do like it. You know. That's funny. That is objectively funny. They were Mormon. Yeah, maybe. Both hosts of the podcast were arrested. Yeah, they were. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the mental health and bad breakup. Absolutely. Oh, Stephen, he has found, emotional damage. I love that. That's cool. Absolutely cool. Awesome meme. Read about Kellogg and the Battle Creek Sanitarium. Yeah. So they used to categorize anything that wasn't mainstream, cisgender, anything outside of the accepted normative sexual behavior as deviant behavior, and that was something, completely horrible kind of thing. Where's Deviant Outcast? She knows all about it. Yeah.
He invented bran flakes to kill people's sex drive. Like, that's why we have Kellogg's cereals today, is because he was trying to make cereal breakfast as bland as possible so people would stop masturbating.
$2 from Left-Handed Jedi says, "For the love of God, stop touching yourself." Like, stop the water spouts.
You can't stop me.
Okay, the only time... Then I was not the only one falling for it. The first time I heard about it was from some apologist video. Well, that's the thing. Ugly German Truth. It's Poe's law, right? Like, any parody of religious fundamentalism is almost indistinguishable from the real thing, because they have gotten so ridiculous over what they've said. I mean, you had those idiot Proverbs guys talk about STDs as sexually transmitted demons. Like, they think demons are causing, like, UTIs and stuff. Like, it is, it's so weird. Like, to me, I thought it was a parody, and it's not. That's what they think. It's just, that's what Poe's law is. Any parody cannot be ridiculous enough that you will just go, oh, that's obviously a parody. Because you think it's a parody, and it's not. That's something they actually believe. So it's almost indistinguishable. It really is, mate. Whoops.
Yeah. On the note of terrible apologists, though.
Yeah.
Have you ever run across an apologist going by P. Mars?
Yeah.
That person dropped by. Brentley was doing a TikTok stream today, and I dropped in, as I sometimes do, and this P. Mars person was there. Is it perchance another name for Praise I Am?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, because the person sounded an awful lot like Praise, but would not say one way or the other whether they were Praise.
No. I think P. Mars is someone different. I think they're banned from this channel, to be honest with you. They said a lot of, like, really out of pocket crap. If they are, I don't really care. Yeah, I think P. Mars is banned, but he's got a whole bunch of sock accounts. I don't think they're the same person, though. I think Praise is slightly different, but he's really, like, he is really off the wall, abusive and awful. Like, he says some wild stuff. So P. Mars is crazy, just insane.
A little bit. He tried to run a pre-sup argument, and I mean, Brentley had the right answer for him off the gate, but I stuck screws to him with the, like, circular reasoning and all
begging
this.
the question. Yeah,
the yo mama argument. Oh, I got to use yo mama. Oh, it was kind of fun. And so he just randomly started throwing out garbage, like, you atheists have no basis for reality, and we're like, how do you get that, And he just didn't have answers for anything.
No. He wants to say, well, intelligibility, it's kind of a misplaced concrete. Like, intelligibility isn't a thing. It's just a description of what happens when your cognitive model of something matches what the actual reality is. It's intelligible, but they want to treat it like it's this thing that is given by God, and it's like, well, how is that some sort of thing, like a concrete? So I think it is this misplaced concrete that they haven't demonstrated to be a thing even. So, it's weird. They're just, I mean, they're pre-subs. They're just, yeah. And Aunt Jer is right. If you ask Titan, he should know. He will know whether that's the case or not.
I'll keep that in mind if I catch Titan again.
Yeah, I think he is on the Titan's list. Well, Titan keeps a list of people that are banned kind of thing from the community because he does modding on a whole bunch of channels, and he knows when someone will go on there and just, just pull something completely out of pocket, and just rant like a madman or whatever. So he keeps a list of people that basically aren't welcome in the community for their own actions, and I think he is on it, but I can't be sure. But I think I did ban him from this one because he was saying some real terrible stuff in chat. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, very bad faith trollish type behavior. I get that. He didn't act up too much. Like it was just random shit. It wasn't like anything overly offensive. But another person came on after he left saying, hey, just so you know, this P Mars critter's kind of bad news. Like apparently he was bragging about hooking up with a 15-year-old or something.
Oh, that's
like,
gross.
I didn't know that, and I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I definitely didn't hear that. I don't even know if
it's true. Rumors are rumors.
Yeah. Oh, I have no idea. Let's see how the poll did. Let's poster is morally correct. Yeah, I agree. And your boundaries, it doesn't matter if they're parents. Your boundaries are your boundaries. It doesn't really matter. Catherine got on that ban. Yeah, no, totally. And she was given a lot of chances to not be a bigot. Just don't be a bigot. That's all. You can have your opinions. Don't be a bigot. She can't seem to do it. So I don't know what is with, because she's fine on everything else except that one topic. I don't know what her issue is. No idea. Don't really care. Stop being a frigging bigot. But yeah, that brings us to the end of AIMBOT. I thank you so much for coming on, Ems. I really appreciate it. Went for a good couple hours. I'm so sorry. I'm just feeling a bit under the weather at the moment. So if I sound a bit nasal, it's just but just been a bit under the weather. I blame Lynn. She gave it to me. How dare she? How dare she have, like, a perfectly normal cold and live with me? Yeah, how dare she? How dare she?
Biological actions and all those things.
Yep.
This is what we get for not being androids. We could have been androids at this point, or gynoids, whichever.
Yeah,
one
sure.
of those.
Why not?
Or both.
Why not?
I mean, once you have an artificial body, what can stop you?
Well, if like so evolution of humans, they think that we're going to start plastering technology into ourselves, like transhumanism basically, and that will be Homo cyborgus or Homo sapiens cyborgus, and then when we eventually replace everything, it will be Homo sapiens mechanicus. So that's apparently one of the possible futures we could have.
Possible, sure. I don't know. I lean a bit more towards upload future, and then we'd be Homo Sideria.
Homo Siberia?
Sideria, as in cyberspace. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
Mean, first of all, you can run remote bodies, so they're like customizable depending on what you want to do. But more importantly, you actually would be at a simulation, and so you could change shit. Like if I wanted my room to be bigger, I could just do that, like it were Minecraft,
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Homo Immortus, I'm right on board. I'm there for it. I'm there for it. But thank you so much for coming. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. But I see all the usual characters, so lots of love out to all of you. Thank you so much for putting up with me and my stupid cold that I'm getting. I realize that I've been doing this for years now and not really had a break, so I might have to consider that at some point. You know, I'm fine though. I'm quite happy doing it. I don't think it's particularly onerous at all. I don't know. I heard other people. Somebody else was taking a break, and I'm like, maybe I should, but I'm okay. You know, so I guess it hasn't crossed my mind.
Yeah, you don't have to. Like, if you want to, you can. But like, nobody's gonna come along and be like, knock knock. You've been. You know, it's been too long. You need a vacation. You know, it's just
yeah.
Whatever you need to do. Like, I mean, there have been a few times when you were on a trip, and so you had to postpone a stream or two. I mean, it's whatever.
Well,
fits,
I have been in companies, right, where they've come along and said, like, you've got to take some vacation time because you have too much accrued, and if you left, we would have to pay you out a ridiculous amount. We don't want to do that, so you've got to take vacation time, basically. So I've definitely had that in my life, that I've been told you have to take a vacation. You know. So yeah.
That happen at not many jobs. A lot of jobs, if you don't use your vacation time, you just lose it, which isn't legal.
Oh,
but that
no.
doesn't stop them.
Really?
But I have had a couple companies that are like, Ember, get out. You have to take a vacation.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. I look, I don't know, maybe it's because Australia's got stronger industrial relations, but if a company didn't pay you out your vacation time, you would go to the Industrial Relations Commission and report them, and they would be in a lot of trouble like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it never happens. I'm saying it generally is something that is seen as a big no-no. You can't rip off people for their vacation time. There's no way. There's no way.
I've heard y'all are serious about wages over there.
Yeah. People should be able to afford to live. And there should be a minimum wage, like a livable minimum wage. Like, you can't just employ people and expect them to suffer while you employ them. That's ridiculous. But anyway, that's Australian things. But I can't think about it because of the crocodiles that are ripping people to pieces. Okay. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your crocodile gods. Okay. Your paganistic rituals of the tree, be kind to them too. Please. Please.
Be nice to the trees.
Be nice to the trees. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, actually, I saw a thing about, what was his name? Steve Irwin, right? And he had this short of him just basically going, look, I love money. I would grab all that I can and I'd buy wilderness with it and preserve it. The guy was actually a lovely guy, like, seriously. He is just so great about, like, preserving wilderness. Man, what a guy. What a guy. But yeah, do take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
Halo